Sup, David here. Today I want to talk to you about emotions, but from the perspective of biology and evolutionary psychology. So all emotions actually exist for a purpose. It actually helps us to learn and to survive as human beings. And so all emotions are actually neutral. They're neither good or bad. So I'll give you an example here. So let's take the emotion of anxiety. So we think that anxiety is really bad, but in terms of biology, anxiety is actually can be very useful for us. For example, if we see a predator in the wild, then we want to have these emotions of anxiety, of being a little bit anxious, because it helps us to run away from this predator, right? It helps us to survive in the wild. So it has its purpose. All these emotions has its purpose. So let's take another example of, say, anger. Anger is also very useful because it creates this big surge of energy. And so with that same example of like a predator coming after us, instead of running away from it, maybe we can fight it off with our anger, or maybe we can overcome obstacles with our anger, using that extra energy for our benefit, right? And let's take another example of maybe like sadness. Okay, why do we have sadness? Well, maybe it's to appreciate things. Maybe it's so that we don't take things for granted, so that we become more appreciative of the things that we have. So all these emotions, they're neither good nor bad. You know, it's just the meanings that we create that creates the goodness or badness behind these emotions. So all emotions are neutral, and all emotions has its purpose. We just have to attach a good meaning to things, a good meaning to these emotions. I would say a good relationship to these emotions, and we can take these emotions and actually learn from them, right? Instead of being a victim and being bogged down by these emotions, let's learn from these emotions. You know, learn to accept and embrace all emotions, because they are actually healthy for human beings, and they actually are useful for us in some way or another. So we can take this information and just create a better relationship with these emotions. So you want to be able to detach yourself from these emotions. Don't identify with the emotions. Like, for example, don't identify with sadness, but detach from it and see that sadness is taking place in my life right now. Okay, and just like observe the sadness and change your relationship to it. Because if you have a negative relationship to sadness, that reinforces the negativity even more, right? If you're like, if you are sad about being sad, that compounds into being more negative. But if you're like more neutral about being sad, if you say, okay, this is an emotion called sadness, okay, and let me just accept it for now. And if you have like a more neutral, or even sometimes like a positive relationship with sadness, like if for example, if you're like, oh, this is sadness, this is great, well, then that sadness becomes a positive thing, doesn't it? So we can take this information, our relationship with these emotions, and use it to our advantage. So you want to detach yourself, know that every emotion has its purpose, especially in a biological perspective. And as human beings, it's actually healthy for us to experience the full spectrum of emotions. Thereby, we should embrace and accept all emotions instead of fighting it off, instead of being resistant to it, which again, it stacks upon the negativity of those emotions. But if you come at it with a neutral standpoint, then it helps to really neutralize the negative emotions. And you don't really see the negative emotions as something that's negative, but just something that is, and is just a part of life. So that is it for this video. Hope you found value out of this one. I'll talk to you in the next one.